90s skateboarding shoes and your health. Let's get into it. What's up everyone, Mike Muellner here. I'm an internal medicine doctor from Los Angeles, California, and today we're going to talk about 3 things that I really like about skate shoes from the 1990s. Number 1, you got the fat collar. I'm not sure if that's actually what it's called, but a lot of skateboarding shoes from this era had really thick area around here at the top of the shoe. This would help keep your foot really stable inside the shoe, but would also prevent against what we call ankle inversion injuries. That's also known as an ankle roll, because it's basically like having pillows around your whole ankle, making it harder to roll. But still, if you fell wrong, you could still completely obliterate your ankle even wearing shoes like this. But I do think it helped. And this is one of the main reasons why I just could never skate in things like Chuck Taylors, because there's just no padding at the top. I feel so insecure with my ankles and just feel like they're moving around all over the place. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the air bubble. So a lot of shoes, late 90s, especially early 2000s, had these air bubbles in the heel. So this is great if you're the kind of skater like me who spends a lot of time not landing on your board. When you're landing on the air bubble, presumably it could help to prevent against things like heel bruises. But I don't really know how effective they were. As far as I know, there was never a randomized, double-blinded, placebo-controlled trial comparing shoes with an air bubble with shoes without an air bubble in preventing heel bruises. But at least at the end of the day, I think they looked cool. And on to number 3, the fat tongue. So if there's anything that this era of skateboarding shoe is known for, it's huge fat tongues. A lot of this was probably just for style. I mean, some of them got crazy. I think some shoes even had 2 tongues, but it also, I think, added some protection, particularly against having the board fall nose first onto the top of your feet. If that's ever happened, you know it's painful because the anatomy of the foot is such that there's just not a lot of soft tissue. There's not a lot of padding on the top of your foot. Really, it's just bones and tendons, and if something falls directly on top of it, it's going to hurt. So having all this extra padding, I think, did help a little bit. But it admittingly, especially in a shoe like this, looking at it now, looks kind of excessive. This was probably the reason why I wasn't really able to wear skate shoes for the longest time, because it looks ridiculous if you try to wear these with skinny jeans. So the whole 10, 15 years of skinny jeans, wasn't really wearing a lot of puffy shoes like this. But now that wider cuts are coming back in style, I think I'm going to start wearing these a little more often. And finally, number 4, another thing I really like about 90s skate shoes, and I'll just use the same shoe because I can't think of a better example, is the little bit thicker soles. And so you had more material usually under your feet. And on the one hand, this would adversely affect board control. You just can't feel your board as well in a pair of shoes like this compared to like Vans slip-ons. But on the other hand, it was definitely more padding, and especially if you land primo with the board on its side, it really hurts if you do that in slip-ons, or I can't imagine doing it in bare feet. That would be completely miserable. But in a shoe like this, at least there is some padding getting in between the side of the board and the bottom of your foot. But there's another flip side, is that the more material you have here, the more space you have in between your foot and the shoe increases the leverage that you will have for an ankle roll. And so, you know, there's definitely a point of diminishing returns, where if the sole gets too big, not only do you hinder board control, but you also can increase risk for a more serious injury during an ankle inversion. So it's a bit of a balancing act, but overall I do like the thicker soles of older skate shoes. Okay, that's it. That's my take on early 90s, well actually late 90s skate shoes from kind of a medical perspective. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like healthcare or healthcare adjacent content like this, feel free to hit the subscribe button there or check out another video here, and I'll see you guys next time.